on, 45th annual Van Nationals.
Yeah, baby.
I was there at the third.
All right. Now we're going to check out the van.
Already. Hey, just about beautiful downtown, Mansfield, Ohio. Taking a little cruiser ride. We were hot, but we're not no more.
That's right.
Cools off pretty quick, eh, when you get down the road. Yeah. Sweet, sweet.
Hey, this is Benic, and you're going to get to see the Cosmic Cruiser. It's been seen, but this time we're doing it right at the 45th Nationals. I guess you want me to tell you something about it, but we can start with the real beginning. Was Bowling Green, 1976. I showed up with a well-received van that I had painted in public in Detroit, and we showed up, and of course everybody knew about the van. It was in a couple of magazines and whatnot, and I'm looking around, and all of a sudden I see this really radical, all cut up, early Chevy. Let's just say it was a 69 Chevy, chopped 3 or 4 inches, this and that. And, you know, I looked at it real quick, realized, oh my God, that's really rough. And yet, all the vanners were milling around it like it was gold. I realized that the vanners wanted to see something radical. They don't want to just see paint. They don't want to see anything except radical. Radical turns them on. So I says to my wife at the time, I goes, you know what? I think I need to build a radical van, because that's what people want to see. They want to see some bodywork. They want to see some more imagination than the next guy. So she says to me, well, yeah, you can do that. Why don't you just sell your van and get started? So that's how it started. I put the van in the paper in Toronto. Some young guy from Sweden come down, looked at it. I was actually on a trip. He calls me on the phone, looks it over. He says, yeah, I'll give you what you're asking for it, blah, 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 but I can't come back and pay you right now. I have to go back to Sweden, bring some more money. I was okay. So we waited 3 or 4 months, and he finally paid me. And next thing you know, we're buying a 73 Chevy van that used to be an egg hauler. He used to haul eggs from Windsor to Montreal. Red with a white stripe. So I got started cutting it up. The first version, actually, I wasn't the body man on it. I had a guy, Luigi Aquino from Argentina. I got a hold of him through a body shop I used to freelance out of. He come in from Toronto for like a couple of months and did the original chop, and I'll show you what the original van looked like, but in murals. He did the original chop, and the front end, the back end, the quarter panels are still on it, the same bodywork. And once we got that done, it was up to me to get the body ready for paint and so on. Yeah, we finished the van. It took a year to get the interior in it, and once that was done, I started featuring some shows. We're feature attraction. Did a Canadian tour with it, all the way down to Quebec City and back across and into Edmonton, Alberta, Calgary, Alberta. Something like 5,000 miles in one winter, actually spring, because we wound up in April in Calgary, Alberta. And so we started doing some shows and stuff, put out some posters. Company put out a bunch of posters, went worldwide. I don't know, sold 27,000 posters. And after that, about 82, Dodge came out with a minivan. So I'm rolling down the road, and I hear this guy in a Cadillac going to his wife, oh yeah, that's a customized minivan. Because I had a long nose, and he thought it was a customized minivan. So I thought about it, I said, wait a minute, I can't be a customized minivan no more. So that summer, I decided to cut it up. And the next couple of years, I'm doing steel work. I'm welding and cutting and trying to get the imagery across of what I really want. And then I had to park it, of course, in the back of the shop for a few years. And I think 84, yeah, 84, I get a phone call from Toronto. And the promoter said, hey, you got a pretty nice van there. Would you be interested in bringing it out to Toronto? I says, well, what magazine you looking at? He tells me, I goes, well, sorry, pal, but the van's all apart. It's in bare metal, and I'm doing dual axles, and I'm doing rear axles dually, and blah, 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 and twin engines, and all this nonsense. He goes, really? Oh, can you send me some pictures? So I sent them pictures. We didn't have email. 1984, sent them some pictures. Next thing you know, he fires that up, comes back with an offer. I says, yeah, I can't turn that down. Sends me $10,000. Went over to my banker, got another 10 grand, and got to work. Put all bodies on the cruiser. Next 2 months, bam, 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 all kinds of hours, sleeping in the van, under the van, just incredible amount of effort. And next thing you know, we're at the show. We did the show through about 6 inches of snow. Yeah, we made it, did it. Couple of more events. Newspaper people come around. Goes on the wire service. Goes worldwide. Before the internet, you had newspapers, and you had to have something special to go worldwide.
Oh, yeah.
So she goes worldwide. I get all kinds of, pats on the back, this and that. And all the while, I'm going outside and I'm going, hey, wait a minute. It looks good, but that's a little too short. I think I need to stretch it about 4 feet. Long story short, that was at the back of my head forever. And 86, I'm rolling down the highway, down I-75, going back towards Detroit from one of the van events. This guy in a big ass limo, about 35-footer, pulls alongside of me, blah, 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 blah. He's trying to talk to me while we're driving next to each other. And he brings me the limo to cut up, raise the roof, this and that. So once I got looking at it, I'm going, hey, wait a minute. That looks pretty simple the way they did that. I think I'm gonna make me a stretch. So next thing you know, I'm stretching a limo, do a 41-foot Cadillac. A year later, no, same year, first year that the car's on the road, the guy comes around and starts talking about possibly doing a joint venture, but in Vancouver. So what are you talking about? So, well, I'd like to open up a limo service, but I want one of your cars. The next thing you know, we're stretching the cruiser, not 4 feet like I wanted, but 10 feet. I says, okay, well, we got to get to work. So we get to work, and we're just about all done, and we find out because it's going from Ontario to British Columbia, they want destructive testing on my front end. So guess what? We're not destructive testing the front end. You need to have engineers. You don't have engineers to say this is built properly. You don't have whatever. Oh, that's not going to happen. We shelved it. I had to pay the guy back his money, and there is no more limo service. By then, I'm already sick and tired of the limos anyway. And I says, yeah, it's going to be back to private vehicle. And so here we are. We've done all kinds of stuff, and now with the with the internet and the interest, I thought I was a forgotten warrior, if you will, because I was doing fine art, and I wasn't really interested in doing too much automotive, because it was a lot of perfection involved in everything you do. You gotta make every line perfect. You gotta do the body work perfect. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. Next thing you know, it's thousands of hours of work. And guess who had to do the perfection? Me. After I sent the boys home, I had to do the last bit and work till midnight. And I did that for like 10 years. All right, so anyway, back to the real nitty-gritty of this, while the van was short, I did a little bit of traveling, and I had this silly idea. I had a Corvette rear end in the back of the van, and too wide of a wheel. And in Virginia, I wind up breaking every single lug nut on the back end of the van when I was going to a van run, right? So next thing you know, I'm thinking, hey, you can't be doing that on a van. You need more wheels if you're that heavy. So that's where the idea was born, to have at least dual axles in the back to take care of some of the weight and, you know, rocking and flexing and whatnot. And then I says, well, once that's going, I decide, well, we need dual front wheels, because the idea is, if you got your life's work in your hands and you're behind the steering wheel of your life's work, and then God forbid if you got the rest of your family in your car, and you're going to be, let's just say hypothetically, you're rolling down a hill, and I know which hill, but you're going through Pennsylvania, you're heading down towards Virginia, you're doing some nice rolls down the hill, and you're doing 75 miles an hour through a curve, it feels good. Next thing you know, you get a blowout. What the hell is going to happen? You're going to hit the dirt. You're going to have a problem, right? So now, I says, hey, I know how to fix that. If it works good on a trailer, having dual axles in the back of the trailer, it works good on a van. I'm going, hey, take stupid right out of it. Dual axles, I don't even care if I get a blowout on the front end. Why? Because nothing will happen. Absolutely nothing will happen. You're just going to hear the tire going blah, 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 blah. And if you break the bead, yeah, it's going to flap around in the wheel well and maybe make some bodywork damage. But other than that, you're not hitting the dirt. You're safe. You're doing good. You're not going to wipe out. As a matter of fact, a month and a half ago, I had a blowout on this rear axle over here. The front drive axle had a blowout in a construction zone. The tire exploded in a construction zone. Can't pull off. What did I do? I kept on driving. I slowed down. I kept on driving. Then they had a service area. Pulled over, dragged out the floor jack and another jack. I need 2 jacks. Guess what? I was done, 20 minutes, changed my tire, and away I went. No damage. No damage whatsoever. I did more damage when the tire went flat, when I didn't notice it, and I was trying to turn the van around on grass. I de-beaded the tire. You know, well, the spare tire was kicking around for like 3 or 4 months. I didn't know I had a slow leak, right? So that's happened the same weekend. So I fixed it since then, and we're good to go. But so the reason that it is the way it is, the Cruiser is the way it is because when you're cruising, you need the safety factor. So I'm just thinking it is very, very safe. It's not just for looks, for freaking people out. There's a reason for it. I'm very safe. I'm in a like in a motorhome with that weighs 8, 10, 12,000 pounds, and you only got 1 tire. There's serious problems if you have a blowout at 70 miles an hour. And I've seen a blowout at 50 miles an hour. I've had one with my big limo. 50 miles an hour, the blowout happens, you're changing lanes. You're changing lanes. You can't do nothing about it. It digs in, the steel digs in, the tire digs in, it's dragging your ass wherever it wants to go. So that's the basis of the design. So anyway, once I seen that minivan, the minivan came out, and I said, well, I need to do something about that. So dual axles in the back. The van is actually coming back for the 2nd time. You know, it's Cosmic Cruiser 2. That was the whole other idea. Second, two wheels, 1983. 1983, dual axles. I set all this up. I had no idea how I was going to hook it all up. I just did it. That's a problem to solve later. First, we got to do the bodywork. So anyway, front hood was steel, of all things, off of a Ford LTD2. That's the hood. Ford LTD2. It was damaged. It was a customer's car. It was damaged. We cut it off right about here. And then on one of my crazy ass moments, I did this whole front nose in one night. All the steel work was done in one night. And my workers found me sleeping on a piece of panel in front of the van. Pulled an all-nighter, fell asleep at about 4 o'clock in the morning, and the cruiser face was born. And I didn't have this part finished. This wound up being, this is a quarter panel off of a Camaro. Flipped upside down. This here area would have been the wheel well. So all I did is I hammered this out, flipped it over, flipped it upside down. This is where the window would have been. So this is an upside down quarter panel off of a Camaro, like a 78 Camaro. And the reason I did that is because it has compound curves this way and this way. Well, back then, it would have taken me a long time to make this panel, like probably 10 hours with a dolly and hammer. And I said, oh, I don't need to do that. I can just dolly this out, weld it in, sharpen it up, put it a little bit. 1983, it's still holding. And yeah, for all the Bondo haters, 35-year-old Bondo, how do you like me now? I mean steel. The motor was built by one of our in my town, one of the hero engine builders. Dennis Thibodeau was his name. He builds like, you know, nowadays he builds like $50,000 motors, but that motor's been in there since 1986. 454, 1969, 454, rectangular port heads, tunnel ram. We had twin 600 Hollies on it, and had a pile of problems because the van does sit around a lot. So all the cold startups, once in a while it will let a little too much fuel pass the rings. Next thing you know, you contaminated your oil, and the first thing that goes is the cam, because I got too much valves. I got too much valve springs, and then I forgot about the memo. You're supposed to use oil additive if you're using a high performance big block. You got to use that, otherwise your cam's going to go. So we fought with that for a few years, and then finally he says, hey, all you got to do is put a roller cam in it. Yeah, you're going to have to do some work with the push rods and this and that. So I did that in one day, put the new cam in it, new push rods. Now she runs like a champ. So we have no issues whatsoever. So this is our second national truck in 2 years, so we're happy. But anyway, yeah, so as you see, the steering is something to set up. Most people don't even have an idea, can't wrap their head around, but every single thing under the front end is bone stock except one unit. And that being, I made a transfer case that drives the second steering box, and basically what you got to do is do the math between axle A and axle B, right? So let's just say for simplicity that's 20 feet. This wheel over here is 3 feet away, which is 15%. So of 20 feet. So now we just have to turn this axle 15% faster so that this axle follows it at all times. Once we got that, we have no issues, and she don't do anything silly.
Very cool.
And we can do all kinds of crazy stuff, and people don't believe that that's how good it is. And it's set up, and it does exactly what it does. It cruises the highway like no other.
And now she's chopped too, right? A little bit?
She's chopped 6 inches. It's chopped 6 inches.
And vinyl on the roof?
Vinyl on the roof, yeah. The vinyl now, I got to replace it. The vinyl is 25 years old, and it's just starting to let go now because it's 25 years old. Yeah. You know, and it has spent a few winters outside, so that didn't do any good to it. And the summer, of course, kills it. So that's my next project. I got to get that off. But if I'm going to do that, I think I might even go solar panels on the roof and get silly and be able to have air conditioning all day without a cost. So $1,000 for a solar panel. I already have my electrics in there. I got 110 on board, so it'd be kind of cool. It would be cool. Yeah. Okay. So, but anyway, yeah, the bodywork. There's a lot of influences when it comes to bodywork. Actually, this influence here, right here, it actually happened. I was at a friend of mine's in North Carolina, and what pulls up, like back home in my town, there wasn't very many old cars in the 70s. But now I'm visiting a friend of mine in North Carolina, and here comes about a 46 Chevy, and I went, wow, is that ever pretty? So I loved the way the fender goes, and it's actually some styling influence from 46. Can you see it now? You see what I mean? So basically, if I can incorporate that kind of styling, that is something that has been done, and it was done 60, 70 years ago, without me telling you just now, you're gonna kind of go, geez, I kind of like that. But when you realize that I'm doing a historical panel, you're gonna be nodding your head like you are. Damn, I didn't see that, but there it is. You see? So it's a historical panel that we pulled from a car that I liked. And I didn't even really see one before. Like, you know what I mean? I never really paid attention. I'm a futurist. I'm thinking I'm a futurist. So that didn't really interest me. I would draw whatever the hell I want to draw, and it has nothing to do with what's out there. But in this instance, that's what it was. So technically, yeah, if I didn't worry about weather and this and that, this is actually supposed to be an air vent. This should be an air vent for brakes, venting the brakes. If you're thinking about driving a lot, getting some air out of your wheel wells, that kind of stuff, that should be an air vent. Just like that one back there should be an air vent. So that's part of the styling is from a little thought, okay, so if this was really some kind of a street racing version of a van, not this big thing that it is now, that air vent went on, or that piece went on, that styling went on in 1978 or something like that. And the actual the scoop, the way that goes up, the bodywork cranks around, that's actually not even mine. Actually, the guy that initially did the steel bodywork, he liked the round. He says, let me show you, let me do this round shape right here. So he's from Argentina. I don't know where Luigi's influence came from, but he came up with that little scoop right there. And we had the same treatment here. This, years ago, this used to be scooped out like this. And this was an air vent as well for the engine. But I got tired of having to repair and water going in there and this and that, the other thing. It's not like it's a stamped piece. It's steel covered with a little bit of Bondo, and moisture comes in here, and next thing you know, you're fixing it every 3 or 4 years. I said, nah. So I filled it in. It used to have scoops in it, but I filled it in. And anyway, and so this scoop here that was around, it came out in another car. You guys won't believe which car.
Which one?
Historically, it came on the Viper. They treated the same, this area, they treated it the same way on the Viper. Remember the new Vipers?
Yeah.
Okay, you look at it, the scoop is there. I'll show you the scoop. Okay, but we'll get back to that. We'll go back to the scoop in a minute, but I'll tell you the imagery here.
Yeah.
This panel here is a takeoff on one of the vans I did in '77 for a guy. And at the end of the world, this all breaks out and falls apart, and it's outer space. This is the end of the world. It's outer space out here. So this little comet that's coming in, it's coming in from outer space. A comet takes 30, 40 years to get here. Well, this has been 40 years already that I've been playing with this, working on it. Even 3 days ago, I was working on it, making improvements. So that's the significance of the shooting star. It takes 40 years to get to work on the world. Anyway, so I love doing waterfalls in the 70s. This is completely my 70s style. This is a Chevy van that is in North Carolina. I painted it in 1977. It's been in storage ever since, because initially, after I finished the paint, it didn't the interior wasn't up to par. It didn't match the exterior, being all in candies and pearls and, you know, flash, flash, flash. The interior was all wood. He ripped it out and changed it. And it's been in storage ever since. It's got 3,000 miles on it. And of all things, you know what the name was? Time Prism. It's in a storage facility right now. But anyway, 3,000 miles on it. This is Freedom. It's a custom Harley that came to me from Chicago. The guy brought it out. He was a builder back then. Okay, Mel Young was his name. #1 Harley in the nation. So, like, you know, before OCC and all that, there was people that built real cool original stuff, and Mel was one of them. And I had the pleasure of painting the whole thing. And the nice thing was, it was I painted at home in my basement, did all the artwork. It was 80 to 100 hours worth of artwork, and it was deemed the most beautiful chopper in the world by all the magazines.
Cool.
Right? And okay, so now the imagery here, we've got the Cosmic Cruiser as it looked in 1981. This is the original front end. That's what it looked like. Initially, it had this kind of grille in it through here, and the headlights were hidden behind it. And then somehow I got influenced by something. I decided to do a little, kind of like a rake, Lincoln grill, put it on a rake, and it kind of worked for me. But it was one of those brain fights I just wanted to change. And at the end of the day, I was a lot happier with the way it was than what it turned out like, but I said there's no going backwards. So I kept it like that for a couple of years, and then of course I cut it up. The significance of all this is, like, Truckin' Magazine featured my work, Vans and Trucks featured my work, Hot Rod, 1001 Van Ideas, Hot Rod Show World, and I don't know what this, I don't know, Van World. Van World featured my work. Strange Brew, top-notch van from Detroit, Michigan. This was People's Choice in Vantasia 1975. Magic Butterfly, Silver Ghost, a Hemi-powered 73 CUDA. Another van, I forget the name of this one. It was dual axle Ford. This is actually what told me to do dual axles. This Ford came, we did the dual axles, painted it candy apple maroon, cherry red, whatever. 3 gallons of candy colors, blah blah blah. Anyway, a couple of my cars, the super long 41-foot limousine. That's just a sketch, you know, because it's far away. And then we get to the tower, castle. It's an I. I am Ivan. I, van. It's my subliminal message saying, hello, I'm Ivan. But this came from my very first van, the one that's in Sweden, and now it's in Norway. So basically, you're coming up over here, you're going up the stairs to my world. It's a straight shot over here, but now, as in life, sometimes it's difficult to get up. So this is basically almost like a slide, but you got to walk up here, right? And you want to come into my world, you're going to come in here, come up in through here, into the castle, check shit out. But if you want to get down into my world, which would be the other side, we're walking through here on this aqueduct looking thing, and we're going into my world. And once we're there, we use this quarter panel for a presentation, and this is my new current project. I'm building a handmade aluminum car. That's a supercar, Viper drivetrain, that kind of stuff. Completely in aluminum, my own design, and that's what I'm working on currently. And we wrap it around. But you see, it came out on a sketchbook. It's on a sketch pad that you can roll up, but it's in 3D here, so it's presented as in it's coming off the sketchbook, and this is what it's going to be. But of course, it doesn't quite look like that. I didn't want to show you what it exactly looks like because I didn't even know at the time that I did the artwork. And then, yeah, we got into the back end. I wanted it very legible because today we're on the highways, we're cruising around. If somebody sees me on the road, they know the name of the vehicle immediately. They take a picture of it. They can, if they're smart enough, they're going to look it up and say, who in the hell is this Cosmic Cruiser thing? And if they do that, they're going to find me on Facebook. They're going to find me on YouTube and my own websites, of course. And then just last month, I decided, you know what? I got to get my Ivan back up there, right? So Ivan, creating art since 1972. That's when I started. So now we're full circle almost to the van. Okay, right? Yeah, because it's sunny out. All right. Anyway, this driver's side is a little bit more serious. This is a little closer to my fine art, but still somewhat surrealistic because it's on a van, and we gotta. If it's on a van, it's got to have some lipstick. It's got to have some pop, and because it's so big, we know that we can shoot it only from 20 or 30 feet away to get the whole thing. So we can't be gentle. We got to hit it hard. We got to have a graphic design, and we can. I'll start over here, but anyway, this door panel here is actually a view from my ancestral home in Croatia, and it is actually, this is the marina up in here, and this is actually the Adriatic Sea, right, and an island right in front of it. So this is what I would see from my ancestral home, the Adriatic Sea with a marina up in here. So it's just a sketch way up in the distance. I didn't want it any more detailed. And this rock formation is actually reminiscent of everything that's in Croatia. It's a lot of rock, a lot of carving stuff, and I just wanted a wall, right? And the glass became another building. That's why these guys here are in there. They're supporting this building. If you look at it from a distance, you'll realize that I'm trying to say that this is some kind of a building. There's glass, right? The waterfall here is a waterfall in Croatia that I stretched out a little bit, but it's Krka National Park, and it's got these really, really cool waterfalls. You can actually Google it and look at it. Krka, Krka National Park. It's got some beautiful, beautiful waterfalls, and I tied that into this landscape here is actually the Adriatic Sea, very close to my hometown, out on one of the islands. And here I just wanted to concentrate on some water, and because most artists don't really get into this kind of stuff where you can actually see the bottom of the water, through the water and so on. And then I decided to hide a little image in here. There's actually a silhouette of a car that's in the water, that's dancing in the water. That's my car that I'm building. So under different lights, it's more noticeable than others. And I treat these rocks, I mean, this was a scoop, you know, at one time I told you, and I decided to close it up because I didn't feel like fixing bodywork every 3 or 4 years. So then, yeah, the rocks are necessary to bring in all this bodywork. And this feels like a bridge because there's always a bridge. I came to Canada in '64. I needed to cross something to get into my life. So now we're going into this landscape that works together. Just a quick house that I designed, and again, a sketch of my car that I want to park in front of my dream home. But we got to make some real money to build this. But anyway, I just wanted to do something a little different than what an average designer would do. So I just kind of sketched this out, put it on stilts. We don't want to disturb the landscape or the rocks, so we put the house up on stilts to enjoy the ocean scene. And so now we got into this bay over here, and we put the wall up because in Croatia there's a lot of dry walls, a lot of stone walls over there. And this is actually my ancestral home where I was born in Croatia, but I put it on near the coast, you know. And young lady over here is trying to see what world I created, because I've always liked painting ladies in my artwork. Years ago they were always naked, but now no. Anyway, yeah, she's got a Croatian coat of arms bikini on to tell the people, yeah, I'm Croatian born, Canadian, but Croatian born, and this is where it all comes from. The heritage is what makes who you are. And my dad's Croatian, my mom's Croatian, my genes are Croatian, but my way of life is Canadian, American, if you will. You know what I mean? North American. And if it wasn't for North America, I don't know what I'd be doing. Probably painting churches somewhere. Can you believe that? Yes, I have done a lot of churches, believe it or not. All right, I suppose you want to see what the hell we're up to over here. Everything on the inside is handmade in aluminum. I'm actually doing some more stuff. I'm changing the seats now. I changed the front seat over there on the driver's side. Got a hold of a really nice Cadillac seat, much more comfortable than the van seats I had. So we didn't have time to change both seats. We changed one for now. Tomorrow or Monday we'll change the other seat. These are handmade. It's a little sculpture in aluminum, and it's actually a naked lady, not a naked lady, a lady sleeping in a bikini. So this is her bottom leg, the little G-string over here, the bum cheek over here, and then I cut it that way to throw you off. See, I'm explaining it to you now, but most people don't even notice what it is. And then of course the armrest here, you know. So that's just something I got into. I was bored one Sunday, decided to whack out a piece of aluminum and make something out of it. So that's what I made.
Very cool.
You know, it's sculptural, and that's what I mess with. Yeah. So anyway, and I decided that I got tired of gull-wing doors, because every time I open a gull-wing door, my mural's gone. So I changed this up. I cut up a couple of stock front doors, hinges, cut them up and changed it so that this can be opened this way. And you know, the interior is about let me see, when did I do that? 1982. So the interior is you know, what is that, 32 years old?
Yeah.
92, I'm sorry, 92. So the interior is old, but anyway, my bed, and I just raised that. Actually, I did that last week. I raised the bed so I can have my spare tire and my floor jack and whatnot underneath it, toolbox, whatnot, underneath the bed, and then we got it going here. And the sound system is from my old limo, the one I mentioned, the 41 footer, JBL and Harman Kardon, and this is all, it rocks still. The sound system is from 1989, and it'll still sound clean as hell. I couldn't believe it. I got lucky with that. So it's all Harman Kardon, and well, the actual those the bases over there, they're not Harman Kardon. I didn't feel like spending no whatever the top of the line Harman Kardon is nowadays. I didn't feel like spending it, so I just threw in some more kickers, and it's good enough until I blow them up, and then I might spend some money. Anyway, so yeah, it's a big couch, seats 4 or 5, 6 people, depends how friendly they are, because again, this was laid out as a limo. This is the way you would have traveled in it when it was a limo, and we're camping now,
too.
but
you can sleep on a couch too.
yeah, oh yeah, no, I when Jan from Japan came over, I slept on the couch, she slept on my bed there. And yeah, this bed here, this pulls out and makes it a little wider so you can actually sleep on it, you know what I mean? And so it's not too bad. And anyway, she's a little messy today because I'm camping and I left the housekeeper at home. Oh no, wait a minute, I got rid of the housekeeper. Okay, anyway, that's just the way I roll. I'm not gonna be pretentious and jump in there and clean it all up and make it pretty. Oh well, here's one that we won just last year. Now I trust most people know who George Barris is. And this is the very first memorial George Barris Award. So he passed away a couple years ago. But anyway, the very first George Barris Award for best custom vehicle. In London, there's 5,000 vehicles there for a weekend show, and I won that last year, and I'm thinking, that's pretty damn good for 41-year-old build. Doesn't get any better than that, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah. So I'm still working on some stuff in here. We're gonna have the Vista Cruiser roof. I got a couple of times it got damaged a little bit, but anyway, now we're gonna get going. That's the Cruiser.
Hi.
You know what I mean? It's not tight. It's not fresh. It's 41 years old. The interior is 25 years old. I do best I can with the time allowed to keep it in shape, restored. But actually it was because of the internet that I decided to start bringing it back out and showing it to people. And last 2 years ago there in Altamont, it was incredible, the reception I got. You know, I realized, holy shit, lots of people are enjoying themselves seeing this. You know what I mean? It's altogether different when you're running around town and there's somebody that never even thought about a van sees your stuff and they're going, oh! But when a vanner sees it and they're slapping you on the back saying, thank you for building it. Hey, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Thank you for appreciating my art. And I think I've said enough. Anyway, just reflecting a little bit, but one of the standout compliments I ever got was 1986, right here, near here in Columbus, Ohio. Vanners coming over, we're standing around, we're talking about different things, and so he finally looks me square in the eye and he says, Ivan, I want to tell you something. From the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for building the Cruiser so I could stand here and enjoy the sculptural look of it. So that stood with me forever, and I'm loving it because somebody really actually appreciates what I did and how I did it. And here we are, what, 25 years later? I don't even know how to count that far. But anyway, we're still doing the same thing, and it's still enjoyable. And we had something like that yesterday, but I don't remember yesterday now. Too old. All right.